Did you see what's going on? Obviously, you've seen what's going on in California. But the governor gave this creepy fucking speech where he was talking about speculators coming in and talking about what to do with the land of all these homes that have been burnt down while it's still only 6% contained. And he did this little dance like, I've been talking with these, with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We got some ideas. A speculator, we're gonna have some meetings. Like, he's
really?
Oh.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is now calling his city's homeless encampments unacceptable, which is odd since he's the guy who, made them acceptable, turning sidewalks into red carpet events for drug addicts, thieves, and unemployed CNN anchors. On Monday, he urged cities to ban the camps from sidewalks, parks, and other public areas. So after years of denying the problem, he's now pretending to fix it, which is like putting on a condom as you're leaving a whorehouse.
It began with a smug grin, but ended in complete ruin.
It started with Gavin Newsom trademark smirk, the kind that usually says, I've got this.
And yes,
but by the end,
noticed.
all that confidence had gone up in flames. In the chaos, he didn't even seem to know which camera to panic into, and trust me, everyone saw it. Joe Rogan came in swinging, hurling hard truths like sledgehammers, and Greg Gutfeld followed with punchlines sharp enough to slice through California tax code. What unfolded wasn't just a debate, it was a detonation. By the time the smoke cleared, even Newsom legendary hair gel couldn't hold it together. This wasn't a clash. It was a live, televised implosion.
Nobody wants President Newsom either. Nobody believes in that guy. That guy's a fucking con man. Everything he did in California, from trying to mandate vaccines for kids, to being caught public without a mask and lying about the fact that he was outdoors. Yeah. Nobody believes in that guy. He's just a politician. Just a stone-cold, narrative-driven politician. Nobody thinks he's a real human. Whether you like Trump or not, whether you think he's corrupt or not, that's a human being. You know what that guy is. Same thing with RFK Jr. Whether you believe that he's correct about vaccines or whether you believe his policies would be effective, and that's a human being. With Newsom, you got like this construct, this cardboard cutout of a person. I don't think people want that, but they might want it more than they want President.
Cut to Gavin Newsom. The camera zooms in like his hairline negotiating a ceasefire with an overpriced bottle of conditioner. He's frozen at the podium, radiating that signature glow of a man convinced the universe exists just to hear him talk. Then boom, the voiceover drops like thunder dipped in sarcasm. Because the moment Rogan and Gutfeld locked on to California Sparkle Prince, the conversation was over. What followed wasn't a debate, it was a high-speed demolition derby in tailored suits. A shiny, televised wrecking ball tearing straight through Newsom's perfectly polished facade.
But
Kennedy, I think the answer is yes.
Was it because of Israel? Yes. Interest rates? Yes. Too woke? Yes. It's like every bad policy that trickled up to the White House during the Biden administration started in California. That state is responsible for the worst politicians in modern history. And he is at the top of the list. And there are some ignoramuses on that list.
Let's talk about Gavin. The man doesn't just walk into a room, he enters like at Fashion Week, and the theme is Big Government, the collection. He perfected the politician holy trinity, the toothpaste commercial grin, the TED Talk buzzwords, and a leadership style that freezes faster than a lagging live stream. He's the golden boy of progressive politics, dripping with charm, waving the climate flag, and probably carrying a wallet made of recycled applause. But peel back that polished veneer and what left just glitter, ego, and a performance so slick it almost distracts you from the lack of actual progress.
Their houses have been burned, all their childhood memorabilia, all the stuff for their kids, the photos, the fucking everything they have is gone. All heirlooms, their mother's wedding ring, that kind of shit. Everything's burnt to the ground. And this guy's like standing in front of all this stuff, and he's got a smile on his face, and he's talking about
start on his climate sermon.
The development
Gavin's got enough
and don't even get started on his climate sermons. Gavin got enough eco promises to stock an entire Whole Foods aisle. Meanwhile, California power grid collapses faster than his talking points at the first hint of a breeze. Go electric. They cheer right before warning everyone not to charge their cars between 4 and 9 p.m. because, apparently, the sun's on a break. Peak irony banning gas stoves while half the state cooking dinner by flashlight. This isn't climate policy at Eco Theater. A tragic comedy where everyone's stumbling around in the dark, pretending it progress.
And he's the guy who thinks he's going to run for president when, so much of the state is absolutely unlivable. And so every project that he's championed, he's now trying to demonize conveniently. And people are not that dumb. Like, people have been through it in his state. They are sick of him. They want him to leave. And maybe that's why so many people around him are like, you should totally run for president. So he gets out of the state.
Yes. Move away.
He didn't just leave California.
Cyrus, did he leave out anything?
He didn't just leave California, he escaped. Like a man spotting a glitch in the Matrix and sprinting for the nearest exit. And really, who could blame him when your state starts looking more like a post-apocalyptic video game than a paradise? Even a sauna-loving, elk-hunting podcast king has his breaking point. Rogan slammed the gas, tore down Interstate 10, and never looked back. He traded smog for Texas skies and scripts for freedom like a UFC champ swapping kale for steak. And he didn't sneak out quietly either. He brought with him the loudest microphone on the planet, the Joe Rogan Experience. Not just a podcast, but a cultural powerhouse with over 100 million listeners and an algorithm that keeps CNN executives awake at night.
While Gavin
Rogan edged no filters, just fire. And nothing sparked that blaze faster than Newsom lockdown logic. While Gavin was sipping fine wine at French Laundry like it was the end of days, Rogan was calling out the hypocrisy so sharply, the restaurant itself nearly cringed out of existence.
Down in Hawaii, you had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. Speculator, watch this. Talking to Josh. Look at this little wiggle. It's excited about the possibilities of speculators coming in. And he's saying we're move forward. We're going to move forward on that. These people lost their homes. A lot of those people don't even have fire insurance because the fire insurance pulled out of California. I think like 69% of fire insurance pulled out of California because they're like, this is too crazy. Like, you guys aren't doing jack shit to manage this. You're not clearing the brush.
And Rogan didn't ride in solo. He brought an army. Doctors, economists, and comedians armed with sarcasm sharp enough to draw blood. Together, they painted a picture so absurd it was almost performance art.
Businesses were crushed,
California rules made less sense than a TikTok finance guru with cartoon filters.
Health orders felt like they were
Small businesses were crushed while megacorporations strutted through the chaos like VIPs at a disaster party. Health mandates felt like they were drafted by a magic 8-ball random, confusing, and always perfectly inconvenient. And there was Gavin, grinning like a toothpaste model, convinced a dab of hair gel could somehow patch up shattered public trust. Then came the great tech exodus, the modern Oregon Trail. Only this time it was Teslas instead of wagons. Rogan didn't just talk about freedom, he demonstrated it. He packed up, moved to Austin, and took his studio with him where blackouts weren't part of the daily forecast. California had become hostile to innovation and allergic to liberty. Rogan's most powerful argument wasn't a monologue or a graph, it was his own escape.
So, while Californians have lost their homes and they're still suffering from the devastation, what does Gavin Newsom decide to do? Well, now is apparently the perfect time to try and boost his popularity and essentially promote himself. He's launched a podcast. I'll play you the trailer in just a moment, but take notice. Does the trailer that he shared with the world on X, does it even mention the most horrific fire catastrophe that occurred under his leadership, partly as a result of the decisions he was making, like cutting fire prevention? No, this is his chance to talk about his image, insisting that he's no ordinary politician.
He just grabbed the mic.
He didn't need to shout or put on a show, he just grabbed the mic and said what everyone else had been thinking, this isn't working. Then boom, Greg Gutfeld stormed in like a raccoon on a caffeine rush with a PhD in mockery. He doesn't argue, he dissects. Every word a smirk, Every punchline a scalpel. Gutfeld delivers 5-star takedowns served ice cold, slick hair, razor timing, and precision that leaves a mark. He glanced at Gavin, camera ready glow, and said what millions were already whispering. The guy looks like a cologne ad but governs like he's blindfolded in SimCity. Then he peeled back the facade behind that Vanity Fair grin with 10 cities, shuttered shops, and Jews spas barely hanging out. California, reimagined as a dystopia with a yoga mat. And through it all, Gavin kept smiling like he thought he could fix homelessness with scented candles and motivational quotes.
About anything? I think there's about 100 other reasons too.
Well, it's not his words when he speaks.
Yeah.
You have to watch him closely. And some genius decided not to film him any lower than the shoulder.
Yes, did you? Yes.
So what did he do?
You couldn't see the hands.
No, but he sent Morse code.
Yes.
Go back and watch it. Look at the blinking. Blink, look. Meet me at the house. Like, he's blinking. He's sending.
But Gutfeld didn't stop at
hey,
the
just
shine.
so you know,
He
I'm
went
not
for
wearing
the
pants.
jugular.
But
His
Gutfeld
real
didn't
target,
stop at the
media's
shine, he went
ridiculous
straight
crush
for the
on
jugular.
Gavin. Legacy
His
outlets
real
treat
target,
him like
the media, is
JFK
over-the-top crush on
only
Gavin.
with better teeth and
Legacy
a tote
outlets
bag.
treat him
But
like
behind the glow
JFK
is
reincarnated
chaos
only
wrapped
with
in a
better
spray
teeth,
tan.
a tote bag,
Gutfeld's
and a PR
monologues
team
weren't
on
just
speed
funny.
dial.
They hit
But
like
beneath that
artillery.
glow lies
He
chaos
shredded
wrapped
the
in a
headlines,
spray tan.
praising Gavin's bold
Gutfeld
leadership
monologues
while
weren't
regular
just jokes,
people
they
were
landed
drowning in
like
gas
precision
bills,
artillery.
insane rent, and
He tore
grocery
apart
panic.
headlines praising
Families
Gavin's
could
bold
barely
leadership,
afford milk,
while
yet
real people were
magazines
drowning in
gushed about
gas
his
bills,
visionary aura.
rent hikes,
Then came
and
the
grocery
climate
sticker
comedy.
shock.
Gutfeld unleashed
Families
like
were
a
barely affording
caffeine-fueled
milk,
truth
yet
sniper,
glossy
blasting
magazines
through
couldn't
buzzwords
stop
like
swooning
carbon
over his
equity
visionary
and solar
aura.
dreams. It all
Then came
sounds
the
noble
climate
until
segment.
you ask,
Gutfeld
who's
unleashed
paying
it like a
for it?
caffeine-charged
Everyday
true
folks suffer
sniper,
through blackouts.
blowing holes through
Bureaucrats
buzzwords
cruise in
like
hybrids
carbon
like they're
equity
starring in
and solar
sci-fi
dreams.
fantasies.
It
Charging
all sounded
stations,
heroic
mostly
until you asked the
imaginary.
obvious
Gutfeld
question,
didn't
who
just
paying for it,
expose
while
He
ordinary
ripped it
folks sat through
apart. This wasn't
blackouts.
saving the planet.
Bureaucrats cruised around in hybrids like extras in a bad sci-fi movie, charging stations more myth than reality. Gutfeld didn't just call it out, he dismantled it. This wasn't planet saving. It was influencer politics in an Instagram filter.
When Gavin Newsom talks about California, he's like, I'm very big on California, very bullish on California. Hey, they're all moving. The only reason why they don't move is because it's too difficult to move. It's too expensive to leave versus all the bullshit with all the permits and all that. It's too expensive. Believe that he's correct about vaccines, or whether you believe his policies would be effective. And that's a human being. With Newsom, you got like this construct, this cardboard cutout of a person.
Then
I don't think people want that. But they might want it more than they want president.
Then came the knockout punch Gavin White House fantasy. The whispers of Newsom 2028 swirl around him like incense at a yoga retreat. But Gutfeld wasn't buying an ounce of it. He torched the idea that a man who can't manage one state could somehow run an entire country. He running, all right, Gutfeld quipped, just from accountability, not for president. The jokes practically wrote themselves. Newsom presidential dream it like franchising a restaurant that just failed 3 health inspections, shiny sign out front, but the kitchen a disaster. The freezers are busted, and the Yelp reviews read like horror stories. Gutfeld didn't just mock the illusion, he blew it to pieces. Every punchline landed with truth so raw, even Gavin PR team couldn't polish it up. And then came the tag team moment no one saw coming, Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld joining forces like twin wrecking balls. Rogan brought the facts, Gutfeld brought the fire. Together, they didn't just question Gavin leadership, they erased the myth entirely.
Runs for national office, he acts like a Republican. This is where the left is really pro-trans. Suddenly, they grow balls.
Rogan just spoke
he didn't
with
yell.
That calm.
He didn't rant. He didn't need to. Rogan spoke with that calm, steady tone that hits harder than any scream.
I moved
People
for a
are
reason.
leaving.
That voice landed
Businesses
like a
are fleeing.
velvet-wrapped sledgehammer.
Homelessness
Rogan
is
wasn't
exploding.
trying to entertain.
I
and
moved
that's
for a
exactly
reason.
Why it cut so
His
deep.
words landed
Then
like a velvet-wrapped sledgehammer, quiet, but devastating. Rogan wasn't performing.
With logic.
He was
Gutfeld
testifying.
Roasted with flair.
And that's exactly why it cut so deep. Then came Gutfeld's same precision, different fire. Where Rogan dissected with logic, Gutfeld torched with flair. He read the government's talking points like a comedian trapped in the world worst play, each line soaked in disbelief. Rogan spoke to the thinkers, the ones hungry for receipts, evidence, and reality. Gutfeld spoke to the skeptics, the crowd that stopped trusting the news when slogans replaced sense. Rogan fans posted charts and clips. Gutfeld fans just pointed at the chaos and said, "See that the joke."
California Governor Gavin Newsom has been facing major calls to resign over his appalling handling of the deadly California wildfires. And just to quickly recap, these were the most destructive wildfires the state has ever seen. More than 16,000 properties were destroyed. The cost of the fires is estimated to be more than $200 billion. And for businesses in LA County, the future is looking grim. It's projected businesses will continue to lose billions of dollars over the next 5 years due to disruption.
No matter their approach, Rogan with icy precision or Gutfeld with blazing sarcasm, they landed on the same brutal truth. Gavin Newsom isn't leading, he's performing. And the review's two giant thumbs down. This isn't just failure, it's failure dipped in glitter. He's the political equivalent of a movie trailer that promises a masterpiece but delivers 90 minutes of slow-motion speeches and recycled slogans. Rogan and Gutfeld saw through the act from opposite angles but reached the same conclusion.
Gavin's the walking,
one used logic like a scalpel, the other humor like a flamethrower. Together, they tore through the illusion with surgical precision. Gavin became the embodiment of politics at its emptiest, all style, no substance. Endless speeches, zero results. And when those two ripped off his glossy mask, it stopped being commentary and turned into a political intervention. One came with a wrench, the other with a chainsaw, and what they exposed left audiences across the spectrum nodding in stunned agreement.
You know, when I went there, I had a great relationship with President Xi. We got along very well. And they treated me better than anybody's ever been treated. And I said, this hair is good. Do you know they closed every factory 1 week before I got there from within 200 miles?
That's like what Gavin Newsom did when Xi Jinping came to San Francisco.
He cleaned it up.
He cleaned it up. He got rid of all the homeless people.
Isn't that terrible in a way to think, you know? He cleaned it up and then it became a pigsty.
Well, the dumbest thing is he said when your friends come by, when you have visitors, you clean up your house. Like, how about just keep your fucking house clean?
Can you imagine?
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I keep bringing up Gavin. Well, other than my respect for his work in American Psycho, he's starting to distance himself from his party's worst ideas. Newsom, a guy who hates fossil fuels but could still bring down the price of gas by wringing out his hair, once proclaimed that his state would be a sanctuary to all who seek it.
And then it all clicked across the spectrum. Libertarians, conservatives, burned out millennials, disillusioned hipsters, even that barista who swore off politics after the last election, all nodding in rare agreement. Different worlds, same reaction. They realized the real disaster wasn't just failed leadership. It was the endless theater of it all. And just when things couldn't get any crazier, boom, the final montage landed like a cinematic knockout.
Gavin Newsom didn't just
By that point,
criticism,
it wasn't about
decoded.
who won. It was about what got exposed.
Left were filters,
Gavin Newsom didn't just face
solutions.
criticism, he
Rogan
got decoded.
Might drop a full episode
the curtain fell,
California
and behind
Collapse,
all the filters
2.
and flash was nothing but empty slogans and performative fixes. Rogan might drop an episode titled California Collapse Volume 2. Gutfeld could turn it into a viral sketch, the Gavin Glamour Tour, Homelessness Edition. And Newsom Reflection isn't his brand. He'll probably post a selfie next to a wind turbine with a caption like, "Leading with Vision." Because for Gavin, it never been about change, it always been about the show.